The Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court's E-Litigation Portal vows to re-engineer the justice system with transparent access to the administration of justice from the time a case is filed to the moment a decision is rendered. The courts in each member state and territory have adopted a posture of change and was aptly prepared to keep the wheels of justice turning when the worst health crisis the world has seen in 100 years, the COVID-19 pandemic, hit the jurisdiction.
One may ask, was it fortuitous that we embarked on a project of taking the court fully online, from GEMS to the e-litigation portal? I say no. It was vision and the acceptability of the available technology to solve some of the problems that the court would have experienced with the inconvenience of storms and hurricanes.
I think if we're talking from a Caribbean perspective about the need for resilience, a number of us, of our countries, have experienced some devastating hurricanes.
And public e-litigation is something that we need because of what we saw has happened during and after the passage of Hurricane Maria.
Well, when Hurricane Irma came, we obviously had a problem. In the territory of the Virgin Islands, there was no power, communications were down, office buildings were destroyed, people's homes were destroyed, people's families were dispersed, and physical records were also destroyed.
Essentially, we lost a number of our buildings territory-wide, and the court was no less involved. It required the court, the commercial court in particular, to relocate to St. Lucia from where matters were heard.
We were able to do so mainly because at that time we had a rudimentary system of email filing of documents, and that coupled with our GEMS software, electronic software, which was then in use, enabled us to get the commercial court up and running without missing one scheduled hearing.
Irma was an unprecedented event in the Caribbean, and Anguilla was severely affected.
Hurricane Irma, it hit Anguilla about the 6th of September 2017. A portion of our building was just damaged. Of course, we got water damage. Also the court registry, they received some water damage.
Hurricane Maria's impact on Dominica was absolutely devastating, tremendous. The criminal court where we are functioning now was almost decimated. Every chair, the courts, the judges' bench, the bar tables, all those things were destroyed by the hurricane.
Our civil court suffered major damage. We lost files, we lost most of our equipment because it didn't only the river came in, the sea came in, and then the roof of the building, also that was lost.
The registry was destroyed. It was severely compromised, and a lot of the files, the physical files, suffered damage and mold infestation and had to be dumped.
It impacted on the judges themselves, the court, the physical structure, the administrative aspects of the court were affected, and so the court wasn't able to sit.
There was an absolute halt to justice in Dominica for about 4 weeks. For me as a judge, I lost a lot of matters that were ripe for judgments, because once a matter was completed and we were awaiting closing submissions, those files were with me at Barracoon Building.
Where we had a tremendous challenge was at the DPP's office. Bear in mind that the building was totally de-roofed and the windows were actually removed.
It took a long time, quite some time, for us to match files with lawyers with respect to civil matters, with respect to criminal matters, and the DPP, which also was affected, the DPP's chambers. The roof had gone there, so the DPP had to reconstruct files check our files there, make comparison, which documents are missing, which file is completely gone, which lawyer on the other side is involved, can we get the lawyer's file, can we reconstruct that file? A host of issues to be dealt with.
So we have gone through reconstructing files, providing them to the registry, which involves expense, which you have to pass on to someone, photocopying documents, making the files available to the court so that they can reconstruct them.
And I think this in itself has served to highlight the desirability of a more robust system that doesn't depend on physical storage of files and physical access to files.
So the court in itself, to be independent, must have a system that is robust enough to withstand any disaster. So it means therefore 1 week or 2 weeks after a major hurricane, that you can be certain that your files, the integrity of the files, are protected.
And we are now moving to scan everything into an electronic format, digitizing everything. And we welcome so very much the e-litigation portal, which will require from beginning to end all matters to be put in electronic format.
With the portal in the cloud, one would expect that a storm or hurricane would not impact the operation of your office, because your office really will be virtual where the court is concerned.
But even for the lawyers themselves, you can hook up. Just simply on the phone and the laptops, etc., and have access to information. And I think that in itself is a resilience to the court.
So I believe that the e-litigation system can only serve to enhance and improve the image of the court. And of course, in a practical sense, it does, of course, improve its functionality.
Our portal is hosted by one of the prominent industry standard cloud service, Amazon Web Services. With that service comes an extremely high level of security. And of course, as it is now, those servers are monitored 24/7 for any threat by hackers. That's one.
I can tell you that AWS, the cloud, it's a lot more secure than you can say in a normal data center. Okay, here in the data center, just imagine if system does go wrong, hardware breaks, whatever. Now, Amazon Web Services, it promises us a 99.95 availability, which means you can access the system almost like 24/7, anytime of the day, right?
And synchronized to multiple sites as well, because Amazon Web Services would not keep one backup. They would have several backups in multiple sites.
And I think fundamental to any court system, be it at the low court or the high court level, is the safeguarding and protecting of court documents. Okay? And there has to be a certain level of redundancy in that protection.
Apart from the server, the password that we provide, that we ensure users have in order to log in, we ensure that there's a high level of complexity.
Your user IDs and your passwords, everything is encrypted. And whenever you file or send data across, it is through a secure channel using SSL cert.
Now, most importantly, when legal practitioners come onto the system, there are two levels of validation. One, the registrar has to approve your registration. Secondly, you would be associated with a law firm. An administrator of that law firm must admit you into the system.
One of the things that we've had to really fine-tune and emphasize is that we need case managers at the court, because those are the persons who are going to be doing the first level of verification to let the registrar know that these documents have been filed.
You cannot do litigation without human beings looking at papers and making sure that they have been correctly filed. So court staff do not have to be afraid that their jobs will be written out. So we need this tool to help close that gap between filings and disposals.
But what has to happen, it has to be made easy, especially for the older practitioners. You have to do a lot of education it is necessary. The court staff and the facilities have to be put in place and updated.
We've undertaken training with the various stakeholders. The actual process started with what we call user acceptance testing, where we invited different groups of stakeholders, lawyers, court staff, to sit with us.
We started with legal practitioners, then we went to the case managers, the judicial officers.
With the expectations of our clients that they must get more for less, there's no question that in order for us to be relevant and to even survive, that the technology is not an enemy. I think that it should be seen as a tool for us to more efficiently or better serve our clients. So I see it as a win-win situation, actually.
We are grateful to the court for taking the initiative and showing the leadership that it has shown to take it on and to move this forward.
You know, I am very much sold on the new system. I embraced and welcomed the new way of doing things. And I would once again like to commend the court, the Chief Justice, and those that went before her for the vision in implementing this new system.
I believe in the power of technology. I am simply committed to ICT. And I'm committed to it because I think that it holds the key to so many things that you can achieve.
I'm 100% in support. And I'm certain that the government has always provided the policy direction and support for the court. The court is an independent institution, and at all costs we have to ensure that we provide the tools of trade, be it by way of finance, by way of training, and whatever requisite support that the court needs.
We are seeing the improvements in our courts, and e-litigation will be one step further in the whole question of the revolutionization of the court's operation.
It is going to be beneficial, and we have to give it a chance. And that's all I can say.
I do anticipate that there might be one or two kinks in the implementation process, but I think that we ought to be patient and give it a try.
More training obviously would be required down the road, but I think it's a good start.
I want to encourage my colleagues particularly to explore using electronic documents. It will help in the whole e-litigation because we have a role to play in making it work.
There will be wrinkles, of course there are, but you can't iron them out unless you actually use the product. And in using the product, then we will test it with fire.
You're really not living and doing and improving unless you embrace change. So that is the way that we have to go. That is the way of the world.
This change is good because the change is not motivated by one individual. It's motivated based on justice and persons wanting to ensure that our constitutional rights are well looked after. And this represents hope for the future. It represents a platform and a foundation by which we can do business in a way which serves our clients well.
What I would like, I think in the end, is to feel that I have done the best that I can in terms of moving the court in a direction of sustainability, efficiency, and really delivering, top-notch service to the people of this region.
The ECSC E-Litigation Portal, serving you on time and online.